Hello and welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you on your journey to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. And this is your host, Beck Milonas, High Priestess, Channel, and Activator. Join me on this series as I share reflections, insights, and channel transmissions from my journey of walking the initiation path. Each episode is a unique transmission containing supportive frequencies to facilitate the deepest healing, activation, and reconnection with your soul. I invite you to open your mind and set the intention to receive this episode into your heart space. Let's go. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. I am jumping on here today really briefly. It's not going to be a long episode. I actually would love to share with you all a sample from my book, Diamond Light Oracle. Here it is. Guys, this book was released about half a month ago, and it's slowly making its way out into the world. But I wanted to jump on here with a sample of the audio from the introduction so you can listen to it for yourself and decide whether you want to receive this transmission. So I'm going to talk briefly about the book before I just let the audio speak for itself, but I'm going to read the back of the book. This is the back of the book if you would like to see it, and if you're on the video, oh, there it is. It says, "This is not just a book, it's a sacred codex to support your evolutionary rebirth. Sacred sites, Gridwork, Kundalini, Soulmates, sex magic, Christ consciousness, dragons, oracles, Atlantis, and Ancient Maya. Come on a journey into the ancient future and awaken the evolutionary potential lying dormant in your DNA. This book is a testimony of the initiations required on the Diamond Light Path to move from carbon to crystalline, from initiate to master, from priestess to oracle. Journey alongside the author, that's me, on a sacred mission, bringing ancient Mayan grids back online, birthing paradigm-shifting prophecy, and preparing the Earth for a pivotal evolutionary leap, ushering in the next golden age of humanity." And at the top, we have some beautiful feedback from people who've already received it, saying this book is literally changing my life and my body. I can feel it in every cell and molecule. It's a gateway, a portal. The transmission that happens is way beyond the mind. It feels like it's like I can feel my DNA getting upgraded, and the frequencies began running the moment I set the intention to read. Guys, this book is really special. I'm sure you've heard me talking about it on here before, and I'm just going to take a moment to speak into like how special this book is, because it's not a book. It is an initiation. It is a vision quest. I actually feel to share some of the foreword, which I was not going to share because I'm going to share the intro, but I'm going to use Erin's words, Erin, my mentor, who wrote this about the book, to you decide for yourself what this book is, right? So she has written, "Please know, dear reader, that as you dive into this codex, you will be stepping through an invisible portal, and when you emerge, you will never be the same again. This is exactly what happened to me. Even as her mentor, I am forever changed." She's talking about me, by the way. "It activated such a deep cellular remembrance and massive expansion in me that I thank the powers that be, and of course Beck, in earnest, that I was able to receive such profound, potent medicine. Throughout reading the book, I felt called out and called forward every step of the way. The initiations at the end of the chapter still vibrate through my body and have changed me in ways I am still understanding and integrating to this day. Each initiation in their individual way felt like they initiated a vast soul retrieval, spanning multiple lifetimes and timelines in a matter of minutes. This, coupled with Beck's vulnerability, sharing the hellscapes and heavenscapes she rode through in her own human experience, felt like a warm blanket of permission to be a divine being having a human experience. In a few words, reading this book brought me closer to my own sacred inner union. All connections between me and God or Spirit and Gaia have strengthened. Think of loose, partially frayed shoelaces getting replaced with new ones, in your favorite color no less, and then getting pulled tight and snug around each foot. Not only is there a greater sense of comfort now, but each step forward feels smoother, more graceful, and more supportive, so you can take bigger, bolder forward steps in life. In other words, this book felt like an upgrade in every way. Not only that, but what I have learned from working with Beck in such close proximity over many months is that she's the real deal, the embodiment of devotion to the Diamond Light Oracle path. There's no better person on the planet to walk with you, alongside you, on your path from priestess to oracle. You will laugh, you will cry, you will vibrate. That happened to me a lot. And you will transform into the oracle you came here to be. To say I'm extremely excited for the journey you're about to go on is an understatement. Get ready to have your selves bathed in love and your shadows integrated into the light. This book is a multi-dimensional vision quest. Happy reading, dear reader. Big love, Erin Ryan. Guys, it's edgy for me to to share my own forward, right? But I'm doing it because I think that there needs to be this understanding that this is not a book, right? Like it's a fucking activation. You will get activated. I have people messaging me who are receiving this saying within 3 minutes of reading the introduction, I'm in full tears. I'm having past life stuff coming up, my whole body, I'm sweating, right? So I just need to bring that across. And I think Erin's words are a really great way of bringing that across. There is a powerful grid behind this book, and it not only contains the ancient Mayan lineage and the prophecy, which I'm bringing forward in this book from my Mayan lifetimes and timelines and from the work that I was doing in sacred sites in ancient Maya, it's also bringing forth a really powerful lineage, the priestess transitioning into oracle. If you've resonated with any of my podcasts talking about the diamond light path, talking about being forged through the fires, right, through the rebirth process, if you've ever resonated with me talking about soulmates or sex magic or Christ consciousness or any of these things, I really invite you to check this book out because it's a deeper dive into all of these things, but it's an awakening, a deepening of your own soul mission, of your own sacred memories, of your own past lives, right? So I dive really deep into past life relationships and karmic connections, and I basically lay myself on the line, everything that I've been through over the years and actually lifetimes to bring this transmission through and what that process was. Because in bringing that through, it activates those of you who are here to walk this path on a deeper level, right? So, I mean, there's so much more I could say about this book, and I'm not going to. I'm going to let the energy of it speak for itself. It's really special. So having said that, it is available now. It's been available since the 7th of July on Amazon, on most major retailers, if you want to get the beautiful physical copy, which is here. But the exciting news is I was going to wait until the 8th of the 8th to release the audio, but I've actually, this morning I woke up, yesterday actually, I was going to upload it on the various different distribution sites, so it could be through Audible and all those various other platforms, and it was like I was blocked. Every single platform, there was some issue coming up. I tried on 3 different platforms, and something in me was screaming, no, this is not how this book wants to be distributed, because it's not an ebook, right? Like, I need to make that really clear. This is not a fucking ebook. This is a journey. There is something in the audio version. I don't know what it is. I think it's because my voice is activating. I channel through many more codes in the audio. The book itself is extremely powerful and you feel it just reading the book, but in the audio, there is something deeper happening because you can really just close your eyes and receive it. So it was very clear for me, not only to not distribute it through these main platforms, and maybe that will change in the future, but it was very clear, like, this needs to be distributed solely through you. And I was also told this morning, why are you waiting till the 8th of the 8th? Like, people are ready to receive it now. So I'm actually pushing forward the date for you receiving the audio. The audio is going to be available, hopefully at the time this is live. So if you would like to, you listen to this sample, which I'm about to add into this podcast, so you can hear what it sounds like, you can feel into the frequency of this codex, right? Like, I want you to actually allow yourself to feel. And if this introduction awakens something in you, if you feel something stirring within you, it's an invitation to receive this book, whether that's audio or the ebook version. It's a sliding scale, guys. Like, there are different levels for wherever you're at. Some people prefer reading, some people prefer listening. There are activations, like Erin says, throughout the book, which they're so like sound healing activations. I've come into some really powerful sound technology in the past year or so, and they deepen the work. So if you're already receiving the book, I invite you to go and, there's a free Soul Codex activation that you can receive for free. It's the first one. This is for people who are already receiving the book. I want to say, like, if you're not receiving the book, don't go receive the initiation. It won't make sense. It's like, there's no point. So for those of you receiving the book, go listen to that. And you'll understand and see like it's multidimensional. They're so much deeper to receive them in audio in this way. And they are sound healing journeys that I've put love into. So the audiobook contains them within it, which is why, it's a different cost price. That's why I've scaled it the way that it is. But my intention is that everyone who needs to receive this book can receive it in whatever way is the best for them. So there's a sliding scale. The most accessible option is the Kindle. The least accessible, or the highest tier, is to receive the audiobook. So this is all I'm going to say about this book. It has been my fucking dream since I was a small child to write a book, and it's surreal. Like, it's here, it's done. I'm still really just allowing it to sink in because, really, to be honest, after I launched it, I launched the hard copy book. I went straight back into production for the audio. So I didn't really let myself fully receive like what happened to me as a result of birthing this transmission. You'll hear about this in the intro, but I quite literally died and was rebirthed into an entirely new iteration, well, multiple times, right? A different version of myself, so much so that I've changed the spelling of my name from Rebecca CCA to KAH because I don't feel resonance with this prior version of myself, right? So it was massive. It's massive. This book will take people through that journey. So it's a rebirth process. Anyway, I'm waffling now. I'm a bit sick, as you can probably hear my voice. So I'm waffling, but it just felt really important for me to share a sample for those of you who listen to my podcast who are in my audience, so you can really receive it for yourself and then decide, yes, this codex is for me. No, it's not for me. Even in the intro, you'll receive something. So even if you don't go receive the book, there's something in here for you if you're listening. I love you all, beautiful souls. The links will be below in the show notes, but you can head to diamondlightoracle.com, really simple, or check it out on Amazon. And I will reiterate again, the audiobook will not be available on anything but the website directly through me. That feels really important and good for me to do it that way because it's not a fucking audiobook to be consumed through Audible. It's a whole visionary course. So that's to say. So I'm going to leave it, beautiful souls. I love you all. Have the most blessed day, and I will see you next time.
An important note from the author. The woman I was when I began this journey of birthing this codex is not the same one who stands before you at the end with a completed manuscript in her hands. The process I had to go through in order to bring this transmission into the world broke me down completely, so I could rebirth into an entirely new form. This is the same process that those who are meant to receive this offering will be led through as you receive this codex yourself over the following days, weeks, months, or however long it takes you to move through this text. And no doubt is the process you've already been going through as you've navigated your own path to this point. It's for this reason that I share rather candidly everything I experienced as I moved through the initiation of this transmission. Not just the codes, the ancient wisdom, the linear narrative of my sacred mission, or the guided activations themselves. I share the parts in between, where the resistance and shadow parts erupting inside of me were yelling so strongly, and my emotions were spinning such a compelling story that I honestly did not believe this work would see the light of day. Truth be told, for a lot of this process, although a part of me went willingly, another part of me found herself kicking and screaming as she was dragged through the mud. And as you can imagine, it was far from graceful. I share the raw, dramatic, dark, weak, shadowy, shameful, embarrassing, entitled, hopelessly romantic, uncertain, selfish, unevolved, immature, cringy little human self parts of myself as they surface, without curating them or watering them down to create an illusion that I'm more evolved than I am. I share these things truthfully and honestly because that's the whole reason I'm here. To be a truth teller is the medicine I am here to bring into this world. It is part of the codex of the divine feminine, the priestess transitioning into oracle, that this book is largely the journey of stepping into. To be able to put into words that deep, dark, vulnerable thing that everyone is feeling, but no one is saying aloud. To be able to share and speak into things that you know, but you don't know how you know. to be able to boldly own, claim, and stand behind the beautiful, powerful visions of the future and prophecies of what is yet to come that you feel as undeniable truth in your bones. To share the things that might trigger the fuck out of people, that might lose you friends and followers, or have people wanting to burn you at the metaphorical stake, but that the world needs to hear. I share these things in the raw and unfiltered way that I do, because I believe it's time we all did. And because in the process of coming to a place where I could share all of this, the most private, vulnerable, and personal parts of myself, the parts of me I was so afraid for people to see, the thoughts I was so afraid for people to hear, I had to face every single thing inside of me that did the opposite for my own self-preservation and safety. As is the journey you will go through, my courageous reader, in the process of your own great becoming. I share this all, naked, raw, unfiltered, unedited, blemishes and all, so that in the process of laying myself bare, you can begin to clearly see yourself in the mirror my story provides. So you can feel fully seen in all that you are, and all that you will go through as part of your process. Simply receiving the sacred calling to this path will set off a sequence of events inside of you, beginning the initiation process, before you even begin to receive the downloads, the codes, or the information, as it did for me when I was told I would write this book. There was a point shortly after receiving the directive to channel this book that even the thought of sitting down to write would cause a violent eruption of emotions in my solar plexus. Anger, frustration, defiance, abandonment, threat. The confusing dance of resistance happening between multiple conflicting parts of me at odds with my sacred mission, with their own agendas for my self-preservation and safety. The truth is, part of me didn't want to write this and was fighting a very large urge inside of me to, instead of following the instruction to write, deny my calling, run off to the woods, and live in hiding for the rest of my life. I mean, what self-respecting witch doesn't feel this urge from time to time? Part of me did not want to be seen owning, claiming, or sharing this work, because to share this work would be rendering myself vulnerable and open for attack. It would put me on the radar of all the parties I've been hiding from, all the parties who have caused me damage in the past, in the lifetimes upon lifetimes where I've shared this work, despite great persecution and personal suffering. This book would expose me for all that I am, all that I've tried to so cleverly hide away underneath more digestible titles, underneath watered-down versions of the work I'm here to facilitate, underneath self-deprecating, excessive humility, which masks the truth of my actual power. Because if I was to truly own it, if I was to truly put it out there, if I was to truly allow myself to be seen for who I am, then what might happen? What might people think? Who might come after me? How might the world react if I was to step fully into my power and empower others to do the same? Another part of me has felt the weight of the responsibility of the task ahead and is so terrified of failure, feeling the reverberations of every time I've shown up here to serve my sacred mission and failed, that it doesn't even want to try again. Part of me was so terrified to even begin writing because what if God doesn't show up and channel through me the way I was told? What if I sit here in silence, staring at this blank page and no one comes? Or worse yet, what if they do? I think knowing the enormity of the repercussions of the latter is what frightened me the most. Knowing the sheer potency of this body of work, the hugeness of what this information means once it's been actually integrated and landed on a deep cellular level. A very real part of me was still very much attached to the demands of this human existence, like making money and putting food on the table, wondering where and how this information could possibly help anyone in a practical way, behaving much like a petulant child having a tantrum, stamping my foot on the ground in defiance and saying, "You want this book written so badly, God? Well, then why don't you write it?" Yet still, I showed up every day, despite myself, despite my fears, my smallness, my resistance, my desire to burn it all to the ground, walk away from my soul calling, and go get a normal job. I knew in my heart I could never do that, nor could I turn my back on this mission. The same realization I come to every time I've come close to calling it quits, which is pretty much every time my little human self faces even the slightest inconvenience on this mission. Despite how challenging it's been, the sacred rebel in me refuses to give up. The Mayan warrior in me refuses to admit defeat. So rather than quitting, I surrender. I lay my ego down at the altar of love and I pray for guidance, for support, and for assistance every day. I prayed every time I opened this document that God would help me find the words that someone out there reading needs to hear. While I expect there will be resonance with these wounds for many of you who are truly walking this path and know what it feels like, I do not ask for pity or sympathy, for I am not a victim. This is my soul karma. These are my shadows. These are my wounds. And this is all that I have been using as fuel for my alchemy, to turn suffering into more love and light as I walk this path to be this embodiment of the way. The darkness in me that I must contend with is a blessing. It is not a curse. As is the darkness in all of us, because it brings rise to the desire within us to find our light. We all have our own cross to bear, and this is mine. And just as much as it has felt like a heavy burden at times, it has also gifted me in beautiful ways beyond my wildest dreams. And so as you read this book, please know this. In the journey to walking the diamond path of awakening our crystalline Christ consciousness within, we all have our own cross to bear. That is, our own karma to contend with, our own soul wounds we came in with, our own unique struggles and pathway to pave. We also have our own soul gifts, blessing, medicine, and offerings to make into the world. We cannot do it the same way as someone else. As visionaries, as pathfinders and way showers, we are here to walk into uncharted territories, paving our way so that others might find the pathways of light we leave behind us and follow in our footsteps. For this reason, I must say that what is nourishment for one may be poison for another. And so I ask, if anything in this manuscript does not resonate with you, do not take it on. Use your own discernment and intuition. Use your inherent body wisdom to feel into what feels right and true for you. Find your thread of truth. Do not blindly take this on without examining it. Truth is subjective and it is always changing. I can offer you what feels to be my truth in this moment, but ultimately it's not fixed, it is always changing. Some of the truths I hold today, I did not hold yesterday. In fact, in the process of writing the first draft of this book over 2 months and returning to edit it alone, I have already changed so significantly that I look back at things I wrote mere weeks ago and think, wow, it's wild that I ever felt that way. Which is also why I've tried to largely leave these parts unedited, because as hard as some of them are for me to read now with my new evolved perspective, they were real for me in that moment. It's important that this whole journey of inner transformation is reflected in every stage that I went through, exactly as I went through it. I expect my position to continue to change a lot on this path, as it already has, the more I evolve and grow, and I expect yours to too. As souls, we're here to evolve and grow as we assimilate more perspectives and our viewpoint becomes expanded over time. Only through personal experience does knowledge actually become embodied wisdom. And some truths we are just not ready for at any given time in our journey. A lot of the things I've written, I could imagine a version of myself even 1 year ago rolling her eyes at or going completely over her head because she simply wasn't ready to receive them. I can imagine that in a year from now, I'll look back and do the same again, but because I've continued to evolve and grow past my limited understanding that I have now. Some of the things that I share in this book will not make sense until you've experienced them yourself as embodied states of being. And in the same manner, some of these things will only scratch the surface of deeper understandings that will quickly develop and surpass the simplicity in which they've been shared here. Let them. Do not let this book be the hill you were crucified on, even though you will go through a process of death and resurrection while reading this book. This book is designed to be the beginning of your own journey to feeling, perceiving, and speaking truth. The only solid and everlasting truth I can offer is that the entire universe is in a constant state of flux and evolution. Evolution is our highest soul truth. Trust this, know this, Remain unrigid, willing, and open to change and growth. This is all I ask for you in the process of receiving this codex. Be open to receive what you require to light your own path forward. Thank you for listening to another episode of Cracked Open. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend if this episode has served you in any way. For more information about the work that I do or to get in touch with me, read the show notes or head to beckmylonis.com. Until next time, beautiful soul.